Today, we have 5 stories, 5 different offices, 5 different moments where someone decided enough was enough.
Stolen property, false accusations, party bans, workplace gossip, turf wars, all of it.
And the question is always the same. Did they go too far? Or was it exactly far enough?
I'm Riley.
And I'm Ethan. Welcome to Reddit's Dirt. Our first story comes from a user I'll call Jeff. He asks, and I love this title, "Someone at work stole my chair, so I had them arrested."
Arrested? Okay, I'm in.
Jeff just started a new job in sales at a company that sells access control and security systems. Day 3, he decides his cubicle chair is, quote, uncomfortable as hell, so he brings in his own Herman Miller Aeron chair.
For people who don't know, those chairs are notoriously almost absurdly good, and they cost more than some people's first car payment.
Day 4, the chair is gone. He looks around the office and another sales rep is sitting in it. Jeff asks for it back. The guy tells him to, and I'm paraphrasing, get lost.
Already, I want to throw something.
So Jeff does the right thing, goes to the owner of the company. The owner tells him the chairs are first come, first served. They're not reserved.
Wait, the owner said that? The chair isn't the company's. Jeff owns it.
The owner's response is that Jeff should just come in earlier if he wants that chair.
Oh my God.
The next morning, same story. Same guy, same chair. Jeff tells him, give it back or I'm calling the police. The guy refuses, so Jeff calls the police.
Yes, call them.
And here's where it gets interesting. Jeff came prepared. He had the receipt, which showed the serial number because, and Jeff wants us to know this, yes, Herman Miller Aeron chairs have serial numbers.
I love that he just knew this. He came to the office ready for war.
The cop scene apparently was quite the scene, but the coworker admitted to taking the chair. The cops asked Jeff if he wanted to press charges. At this moment, Jeff's new boss steps in and says Jeff will be terminated if he proceeds.
Oh no.
Jeff says, absolutely, press charges.
He said yes, knowing he'd lose the job?
Fired on the spot, and Jeff walks out of the building with his chair.
I'm sorry, this is the most cinematic thing I've ever heard. He walked out with the chair.
Carrying it like a throne.
Did he tip it to the camera on the way out, like a little nod to the audience?
I genuinely hope so. And for the kicker, the coworker had been in the industry 15 years. Because he admitted to theft, he's going to lose his security industry license, which means he can't work in the field anymore.
Wow. Okay, so NTA, right? This is clear. He stole property.
NTA without question. The chair isn't even a gray area. That's theft. Jeff owns it. Jeff has the receipt. Jeff has the serial number. The legal case is airtight.
And the boss said first come, first served, like it's a company chair.
That's the part that escalated everything unnecessarily. If the boss had simply said, oh, you own that? We'll get it back. This story ends in 5 minutes. Instead, he validated the theft by treating it as a company resource dispute.
So the boss kind of created the situation where Jeff felt he had no internal recourse.
Exactly. And when someone removes every normal option available to you, the nuclear option becomes reasonable.
Here's my only question. Do you feel bad for the coworker losing his whole career?
Not particularly. He stole from a new colleague, doubled down when confronted, lied by refusing to return it, and bet his career on the boss protecting him. That's a lot of deliberate choices.
Yeah, this wasn't a misunderstanding. He knew the chair was Jeff's and just didn't care.
There's a version of this where the guy says, oh, I didn't realize. My bad. Here's your chair. This isn't that version.
The audacity of thinking you can just keep someone's $1,800 chair, and then when Jeff says he'll call the cops, he still doesn't give it back.
Which tells you everything about his read of the situation. He thought social pressure from the boss would be enough. He miscalculated badly.
You know what gets me? Jeff sat down and thought, I'm going to bring my Herman Miller to the office. He probably thought it was a nice thing, treating himself to something comfortable at work.
And then it became a criminal matter.
In what universe did he expect that when he was shopping for office chairs?
In his defense, most people don't factor in coworker theft when making ergonomic furniture decisions.
Ergonomic furniture decisions. Only you would describe it that way.
It's technically accurate.
It's so you. My verdict is NTA, 1 out of 5 on the asshole scale, and honestly, that 1 point is for nothing. He's a 0. Jeff did everything right. He tried to resolve it internally, got stonewalled, and then used the only tool he had left, The law. That's not nuclear, that's just the legal system doing what it exists to do.
Agreed. 1 out of 5. What I'd add is that Jeff actually showed restraint. He warned the guy before calling the police. He gave him an off-ramp. The coworker chose to drive past it. Story 2. This one is heavier, and I want to give it the space it deserves. The poster is a 33-year-old black woman. She and her 32-year-old husband had, after many years of trying to conceive, a baby boy. She describes it as, "We were over the moon. Family, friends, and coworkers had all been excited with them."
Already, I'm rooting for this family so hard.
Right after delivery, her husband emailed a birth announcement with a photo of their son to everyone in his office. A few weeks later, he comes home furious from his first day back.
Oh no, what happened?
A coworker had told him that a new young employee in the office, someone the husband barely knew, had been telling anyone who would listen that the husband couldn't possibly be the biological father because, and I'm quoting directly here, "that baby is too light to be his and its hair is too long and straight. That's a white man's baby, or an Asian's." The guy proceeded to tell everyone that the husband was being played for a sucker, that his excitement about becoming a dad was blinding him to the fact that his wife had cheated.
I need a moment.
Take it.
This person who barely knew this man decided to announce to an entire office that his wife cheated on him based on a newborn baby's skin tone.
And for anyone who's not aware, black babies are typically quite pale at birth. Skin darkens over the first several weeks. Hair changes too. This is completely standard, well-documented biology. Their son, as the poster notes, is now her husband's mini-me.
He was spreading this as if it was medical expertise based on absolutely nothing.
The husband confronted the guy, who completely denied it, claimed he only joked that the baby was too cute to be his, but multiple coworkers confirmed the original account. The guy had also tried to turn his little theory into some kind of workplace social currency, like he'd figured something out.
Oh, he wanted clout from this. He wanted to be the guy who spotted the affair.
Fortunately, this employee got moved to a different shift shortly after, so the husband didn't have to see him regularly. Until a company event a few months later. Families invited. The couple brought their son, and who shows up and inserts himself into their conversation with the boss, but this guy.
No.
He interrupts their conversation, introduces himself to the boss, shakes his hand, and the poster, realizing who this is, says, "I don't believe we've met. Aren't you the guy who went around telling everyone in the office I must have cheated on my husband with a white or Asian man, and this couldn't be his son?"
In front of the boss?
In front of the boss, who then tells the guy, "See me in my office first thing Monday," and walks away.
She ended him.
Her husband actually says she went too far, that it was over and done. She responded that it wasn't over for her. She was the one being defamed, not him.
And she's right. It was defamation of her. She is absolutely NTA, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. This man publicly accused her of adultery to her husband's entire office, using pseudoscience about baby skin tone. She deserved to say something.
Agreed. And I want to examine the husband's position for a second. When he says it was over and done, I understand the instinct. The guy got moved to a different shift, didn't have to deal with him anymore. Sometimes it's easier to just move on.
But she couldn't move on. Every person in that office who heard those rumors still has that impression of her. She hadn't been able to address it publicly at all.
That's exactly right. The husband got a private confrontation with the guy. She got nothing. And the rumors didn't just disappear just because the guy was on a different shift.
And now he walks in, schmoozing with the boss, like he didn't spend weeks telling people her husband was raising another man's child.
The setting actually matters here. She didn't seek him out. He inserted himself. He came over to their group, introduced himself to leadership, was trying to make a good impression, and she simply gave the boss accurate information about who this person is.
Oh, I love that framing. She wasn't attacking him. She was providing context.
The boss now gets to decide whether he wants this person representing his company at events. That seems like relevant information.
Can we also just sit with how wildly ignorant this guy's whole theory was? Like, he was so confident. He had a take. He shared the take with the whole office.
With zero understanding of how newborn biology works.
Did he think the baby just came out fully formed like a tiny adult? Skin locked in, hair set?
Apparently, yes. He did not factor in development.
He's out here playing genetics detective with a days-old infant.
with no qualifications and no actual evidence, just vibes-based defamation.
Vibes-based defamation is going on my tombstone.
I thought you were putting that on a coffee mug.
Both. Both is fine.
The other angle worth addressing is there a world where her approach backfired? What if the boss had sided with the guy?
Then the boss reveals himself to be a problem too, honestly.
True, but she made a calculated bet in a public setting and it landed. The boss's reaction suggests she read the room correctly.
The boss said, "See me Monday." That's not protecting the guy. That's accountability.
There's also the argument that by doing this publicly, she protected future colleagues. Who knows who else this person was spreading nonsense to build social clout?
Ooh, yeah, that's real. NTA, 1 out of 5. She was defamed, her husband was defamed, and she waited months before even getting a chance to respond. The moment she got one, she used it calmly and factually. That's not going too far. That's finally getting to say your piece.
NTA, 1 out of 5. And I'd argue the husband's discomfort comes from a place of understandable conflict avoidance. But she was right that this wasn't fully his call to make. It was her reputation on the line. She had standing to defend it. Let's see what the community said.
I hope they had her back.
Top comment. You prevented further harassment of other people at the office. Unlikely the dude only targeted you and your hubby. Well done.
Yes, that's exactly what I was getting at.
Second comment, the racist part of his slander is also really offensive. The very kindest interpretation is that he's ignorant and happy to broadcast his ignorance to everyone around him. But I expect the kindest interpretation is being way too generous.
The Reddit community got it.
Overwhelmingly so. Story 3. This one is more of a slow burn. A 26-year-old woman just started a new job. She quickly learns that a colleague named Marie is getting married in about 2 months. Seemingly, the entire office is going to the wedding.
Okay, I already feel for this person.
She's very clear. She did not expect to be invited. She understood. Wedding planning is done in advance. Venues are booked. She's new. They barely know each other. She says she doesn't feel left out in the slightest.
Which is mature and reasonable.
Then she gets CC'd on an office email. Someone named Joan is throwing Marie a bridal shower during lunch hour in the break room. Joan is collecting for a group cash gift via Venmo, also suggesting a potluck. Please reply with what you plan to bring.
Okay, totally normal office thing.
OP thinks, even if I'm not invited to the wedding, everyone deserves to be celebrated. She Venmos the $20 and replies that she'll bring lasagna.
She's being so kind. She didn't have to do anything.
A little later, the $20 is returned to her Venmo. Joan comes to her desk and tells her she didn't need to contribute. OP says she'd like to contribute anyway. Joan looks uncomfortable, then says, "You're not invited to the shower."
Wait.
OP is confused. She asks, "I can't go into the company break room at lunch?" Joan says no. OP asks where she's supposed to go. She doesn't drive. They're not near anywhere she could quickly walk to for lunch. Joan says she could stay at her desk.
They told her to sit at her desk while everyone else partied in the next room.
OP says this seems a little exclusionary. Joan explains that Marie doesn't want OP to assume she's invited to the wedding. OP says she doesn't assume that at all. Joan says great, but she still can't come. When OP asks if she's done something to offend Marie, no, Marie just doesn't want her getting her hopes up.
This is insane. There's a difference between not inviting someone to your wedding and banning them from a company space.
The shower happens. OP sits at her desk alone eating lunch while the whole office is in the next room. One kind soul sneaks her a piece of cake. Then, halfway through the party, the big boss arrives. She doesn't usually work Fridays. She sees OP at her desk and asks why she's not at the party. OP tells her she wasn't invited.
Oh, the truth just falls out naturally.
The boss is visibly perturbed. She later sends an email banning all parties of any kind during work hours. Joan and Marie realize OP told. They've turned on her.
The audacity of those friends telling her she should have lied.
Let me frame this clearly. OP was asked a direct question by her boss. She answered honestly. The consequences of that honesty fell on the people who created the situation by excluding her in the first place.
She didn't go find the boss. She didn't send a complaint email. She didn't go to HR. The boss walked up to her and said, "Why aren't you there?"
And the suggestion from her friends is that she should have lied to protect the people who banished her to her desk.
Which, no, absolutely not.
There's an important distinction here. Not being invited to a wedding is completely understandable. But being physically excluded from a common company space during work hours, that's an HR matter in most workplaces.
They used company resources, the break room, work hours, maybe even the email system, for an event they explicitly told a new employee she couldn't attend or even be in the building for.
The boss's reaction suggests he saw it the same way. This wasn't a party at someone's house. This was in the office.
I can't stop thinking about the lasagna.
The lasagna?
She had already said she'd bring lasagna. She made plans. She was ready to contribute.
And then had to sit at her desk alone.
While the lasagnaless party happened 10 feet away.
I feel like the absence of lasagna is doing a lot of narrative work here.
The lasagna represents justice, Ethan. The lasagna represents what they rejected.
You're going to make a bumper sticker about lasagna-based justice, aren't you?
Already drafting it.
The reasoning Joan gives deserves examination. Marie doesn't want OP to get her hopes up about the wedding. That's the justification for banning her from the work shower.
Which OP had already said she doesn't expect to be invited. She was a grown-up about it from the beginning.
The irony is that Marie's attempt to prevent an awkward situation created a much more awkward situation.
If you'd just let her eat lunch in the break room with everyone else, everything would have been fine. Now there's a company-wide party ban.
The road to catastrophe was paved with misplaced intentions and poor execution.
That's a very Ethan way to say Marie made a huge mistake.
It is, yes.
Not the asshole. 1 out of 5. OP was kind, gracious, not expecting anything she wasn't owed, and when her boss asked her a direct question, she answered honestly. She didn't scheme, she didn't complain, she just told the truth.
Not the asshole. 1 out of 5. And to OP's friends who think she should have lied, you're asking a new employee to take on the social and professional risk of deceiving her direct boss in order to protect the people who put her in that position. That's not friendship advice. That's terrible advice.
Top comment. They wanted OP to lie to her new boss in order to cover for the people who were excluding her from a work event. The audacity.
Short, accurate, exactly right.
Top comment, not the asshole. They used company resources and excluded someone in the company. That's against HR policy. They didn't just not invite her, they deliberately blocked her from going and told her to stay at her desk.
That second comment nails it. The told her to stay at her desk part is what makes this a different category of action.
Agreed. Not inviting someone is one thing. Issuing instructions about where they're permitted to be during their own workday is something else entirely.
Story 4. Our poster is a 30-year-old man named, let's call him Marcus. His wife Jessica is 22. She has a 7-year-old son named Max, whom she had at 15. The biological father, same age as Jessica, her junior high boyfriend, left the state when she got pregnant. Marcus met Jessica when she was 20. They dated for a year, married when she was 21. He raises Max as his own.
That's a sweet family setup, honestly.
Last month, Jessica and Max came to surprise Marcus with a lunch outing. While waiting at the front desk for him to finish a meeting, the receptionist, Claire, chatted with Jessica. Claire was struck by how young Jessica looked. Jessica mentioned she was 22. Claire did some mental math.
Uh-oh.
Claire figured Marcus is 30, Jessica's 22, Max is 7. Therefore, in Claire's calculation, Max was born when Marcus was 23 and Jessica was 15.
She assumed Marcus was the biological father, and then assumed the worst possible thing from that.
From that day forward, Claire began quietly spreading the rumor that Marcus had groomed and gotten a 15-year-old pregnant. Marcus noticed she'd changed her attitude, glaring when she thought he wasn't looking, eye rolls. He didn't know why. Until today. He's washing his hands in the bathroom and overhears Claire and a new hire gossiping about his, quote, underage wife right outside the door.
Oh, he heard it.
He walks out behind her. She turns around and realizes, and Marcus announces loudly, "Hi, Claire. I'm not Max's biological father. In all of your gossiping, you forgot to consider the most obvious possibility, that I am his stepfather. I will, by the way, be reporting you to HR."
Good.
He goes directly to HR. The manager, who is described as a friend of Claire's, asks if he really wants to escalate over something so small. He says yes. She tells him Claire is a single mother who relies on this job. She also says he shouldn't have embarrassed Claire publicly like that.
The HR manager said it was small?
Marcus files the report anyway. After calming down, he feels a little bad. Claire cried at her desk and left early. So he asks, was he the asshole?
NTA, hard NTA. She told people he was a predator. She told them he groomed a child. Do people understand how serious that accusation is?
This is one of those cases where the stakes of the false accusation are extraordinarily high. Being known as someone who groomed a minor doesn't just affect your current job. It can affect every future job, every relationship, your reputation in your community, potentially your safety.
And she just decided, based on arithmetic, with no investigation, no question asked, just, I've done the math and I've concluded this man is a pedophile.
The simplest alternative explanation, that Max is not Marcus's biological son, apparently didn't occur to her. She jumped to the worst possible conclusion and broadcast it.
And the HR manager said it was small.
Which tells you something about how that manager thinks. And as one of the Reddit commenters pointed out, you can add the manager to the HR complaint at that point.
I keep coming back to the napkin math. She did napkin math and concluded crimes were committed.
She was one incomplete piece of information away from the truth and chose not to pursue it.
She could have asked. She was literally talking to the wife. She could have said, oh, what a sweet boy. Is he yours? And the whole thing resolves.
Instead, she chose to take her incomplete data and share it as a conclusion.
One question. One. That's all it would have taken.
The confidence required to skip the one question and go straight to telling coworkers your boss is a predator is genuinely staggering.
It really is. And then she wants sympathy because she cried?
She didn't offer an apology when Marcus confronted her. She just looked like a deer in headlights.
If you actually thought you had uncovered something and you're wrong, the first thing you do is apologize.
Instead, she left early and became the victim of the situation, which is a notable response.
Should Marcus feel bad that she cried? That's kind of what this comes down to.
He confronted her directly and honestly. He didn't fabricate anything about her. He stated true facts in a loud voice. She finds that embarrassing, but embarrassment is a natural consequence of being caught gossiping.
Especially gossiping about something this serious.
Here's a useful test. If Claire had been right, if Marcus actually had done something wrong, would anyone be asking whether he deserved to be publicly confronted?
No, obviously not.
So the only reason we're even considering his culpability is that she was wrong. But she didn't know she was wrong when she was spreading the rumors. She believed it and said it.
Which is somehow worse. NTA, 1 out of 5. Zero sympathy for Claire here. She spread a rumor that this man was a pedophile based on math she didn't bother to verify. The confrontation was warranted. The HR complaint was warranted. The tears don't change what she did.
NTA, 1 out of 5. And Marcus, if you're listening, the bad feeling you're experiencing is called being a decent person. It doesn't mean you were wrong. It means you're not built for conflict the way she was apparently built for gossip. File the report. Follow through. The comments were strong on this one.
I need them to be.
Top comment, NTA. Since when is starting a false rumor that someone is a pedophile in the workplace something small? The manager has lost her mind. You should have told the manager it was either report to HR or sue for defamation. Also, Claire could have apologized instead of acting like she was the victim.
Yes, to every word of that.
Second comment, NTA. Add the manager to your HR complaint too. On top of tanking your career, accusations of grooming are life-ending. Gather evidence and present an assertive case.
The Reddit jury was unanimous.
Our final story, this is a workplace territorial dispute, and honestly, it's a little bit of a palate cleanser after those last two. A bit more morally murky.
Ooh, finally some ambiguity.
Back in 2023, a woman named Jen went on maternity leave. After having her child, she took advantage of her company's work-from-home program, which left her private office empty. Our poster, let's call him Tom, requested the empty office through his manager, was approved, and moved out of his cubicle into his own private space.
Which seems totally reasonable. Why leave it empty?
Fast forward to now. The company has announced that work from home is ending. All employees return to the office by November 17, 2025. WHF employees come in for tours and desk assignments. When Jen sees Tom in what was her office, she gets agitated and asks when he's leaving so she can have it back.
Oof.
Tom says he has no intention of leaving. Management backs him up. He's under no obligation to vacate. HR and his manager both consider the matter closed. But now, coworkers are giving him grief, saying he's punishing Jen for something outside her control. Jen emails him directly asking him to consider her feelings, that she's already being punished by being forced back into the building.
So the question is he just being heartless? She had that office, she went on maternity leave, now she's coming back and it's gone.
And here's the update that actually changes the conversation significantly. After reading comments, Tom checked the actual policy with HR. Turns out you can't just choose who gets your office. If Tom vacates, the office goes into a general pool. Everyone bids for it. Several WHF returners are more senior than Jen. At least one of them wants the next available office.
So if Tom leaves, Jen doesn't necessarily get it back.
Jen would be competing with more senior people for it. She'd likely lose. So Tom staying in the office is not actually the obstacle between Jen and her old workspace. The policy is.
Okay, this one's more interesting to me. Like, technically he's right, but does he not feel even a little bad?
He says in the post that he genuinely understands how much this sucks for Jen. He's not gleeful about it. He just likes having an office.
And after the policy update, his decision actually doesn't affect her outcome anyway.
Right. The narrative being pushed by coworkers is that Tom is punishing Jen. But there's nothing to punish her with. She's not entitled to that office back on their company policy. And even if Tom tried to give it to her, he can't.
So the anger directed at Tom is misdirected.
It should be directed at the company for not having a clear reentry plan, which is actually the second Reddit comment's whole point.
The real villain in this story might just be corporate policy.
It frequently is.
Can we talk about the irony that Jen is saying she's being punished by being forced back into the building, and she's asking Tom to consider her feelings?
While also trying to take his office.
She's basically saying, I'm already being forced to return to a place I don't want to be, so please also give up the nice part of being there so I can have it instead of you.
Which is an argument that's entirely about her feelings and requires zero consideration of his.
And Tom has been going to the office this whole time while she worked from home.
The comment pointing this out was, maybe Jenny should consider your feelings, as you've been working from the office for years.
There's something to that. He never got the WHF option. He showed up, he followed policy, he got the office.
The company's return to office mandate created a situation they didn't plan for. Tom happening to be the one sitting in the office is almost incidental.
I do have just a tiny bit of sympathy for Jen, though. She didn't choose to go on maternity leave to scheme her way out of an office.
Of course not, and sympathizing with her situation is different from saying Tom is the asshole.
Right. She's in a bad spot that's not really her fault, but that doesn't make it Tom's fault either.
Two people can both be having a bad time without one of them being wrong.
That's very evolved of you.
I try.
Although I feel like if I'd said that, you'd pointed out a logical fallacy somewhere.
Possibly. You got lucky this time.
Not the asshole. I'll say 2 out of 5, just because I do feel a little something for Jen. Not enough to call him an asshole, but enough to acknowledge this is a hard situation. He got the office fairly. He's keeping it fairly. The company should have had a plan.
Not the asshole. 1 out of 5 from me. The policy update is decisive. Tom vacating doesn't help Jen. He'd be giving up his office to hand it to someone else in a bidding war. The coworkers' anger is misdirected and should be aimed at management. The community was a little divided here.
That feels right for this one.
First comment, not the asshole. Maybe Jenny should consider your feelings, as you've been working from the office for years. Her trying to demand her office back after she moved out is really entitled. Stick to facts, keep emotions out. Good luck.
Firm, fair.
Second comment is interesting. It goes after the company. They say the real asshole is the company. They should have had a plan for WHF returners. They should be dealing with this, not letting employees fight over space. And honestly, why are they even canceling WHF if it's going to create this much disruption?
That comment is doing a lot of work.
It is. And I think the community largely agreed the conflict here wasn't really between Tom and Jen. It was between both of them and a company that failed to plan. 5 stories, 5 offices, 5 moments where someone had to decide how much they were willing to take. And for the others, were there any that you disagreed with us on? Were there any where you think we were too easy or too harsh?
Drop your verdicts in the comments. And if you're new here, every week we take real stories from Reddit and judge them like only 2 completely unqualified people can.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next week.